Huge welcome to everybody for joining today. It's a really important session, this one. We're really looking forward to delivering it for you around the value of placements and work experience whilst you're studying at Middlesex University. I'm going to talk you through the different types of placements and work experience. I'm going to talk you through how you can go about finding and sourcing work experience, and even more around how MDXworks, us as an employability and careers service, can support you to find opportunities. So this is what we're going to look at today. We're looking at, first and foremost, MDXworks, which is your careers and employability service. So as students of Middlesex, you have full access to MDXworks, and I'm going to talk you through some of the benefits and why it's so important to engage with us whilst you're studying at the university. Then I'm going to talk you through MDXworks.com. So this is our exclusive online careers and employability platform where you will be able to source and secure placements and work experience. So we'll talk about it in the context of how you use it to find placements and work experience, as well as some of the other bonuses and benefits that this website offers. Then I'm going to talk to you about placements. So some of the options that you will have available whilst you study at Middlesex, and plus the value of doing a placement whilst you're studying with us. And then we'll move on to just some other types of work experience, which are becoming increasingly important. So looking at things like work experience, volunteering, work shadowing, virtual internships. I don't want to talk too much today around the kind of the negativity that the COVID-19 has brought with us. I think we're all aware of the detrimental effect that has had on work experience and finding jobs and placements and internships. But actually what we want to do today is think about, well, how can we still ensure that when I'm at Middlesex, I make the most of my experience and I can secure some valuable experience or a placement that goes alongside my degree that may not necessarily be traditional in the old formats that, face to face, but even if I can do something virtual or do something which is going to help the community, to show that I really am looking to secure some experience so I can articulate that in the future to an employer. So we're going to talk through some of those things. And then I'll finish up just talking through Unitemps, which is what we have at Middlesex around part-time work on campus, talking through the Middlesex Students' Union as well, and just some of the benefits of LinkedIn. So it's quite a lot to get through, and I will do my best to make sure that you get some extensive information on all of those things. But this is really just a taster session. What we really want from you all after today is that you engage with MDXworks as an employability and careers service, and we'll be here to support you for every step of the way with regards to looking for placements, work experience, and a whole lot more. So about MDXworks, so as I said, we are the university's careers and employability service. And as you can see in front of you, our aim is quite simple. We want to help you prepare for a whole world of exciting opportunities when you graduate. At the moment, as I said, the labour market is looking a little bit perilous, but actually when you come to finish your degree, we'll be hoping that things have, far moved on since then, and there'll be a whole vast of opportunity out there that you can apply for. What we want to ensure is that you can confidently actually step into that next step of your career journey. And that will take shape whilst you're at Middlesex. And it will involve things like trying to secure work experience and undertaking a whole range of experiences that you can articulate to an employer upon graduation. Employers consistently tell us they want to know what makes you tick. They want to know about your talents, your passions, and your aspirations. And the way to do that is to secure some experience and start to learn and develop throughout your undergraduate studies or postgraduate studies, or whatever it may be. And the really fantastic way of doing that is to test drive roles through work experience and placements. So we'll talk about that a lot more today. How do we support you? As it says there, we offer tailored support, advice and guidance. So we work with you to identify those talents and lived experiences and try and help you to look at things that relate to your degree in relation to work experience and placements, but also thinking about things that may not necessarily you've thought about at that stage. So things which your degree could be particularly useful for, but actually an area of interest which you may not be aware of yet. We want to get that conversation flowing with you guys. So how do we do that? As I said, a whole variety of ways. So first and foremost, it's one-to-one tailored advice and guidance. So we offer a series of one-to-one interventions with our faculty employability advisors. And at the moment, our support, as you will probably be aware, is fully online. So at the moment, it's telephone, it's Zoom, it's video chat, it's that type of engagement, it's email. And our advisors offer one-to-one appointments for all students and graduates of Middlesex to go through your career options with you, talk about your employability skills and help you with your application documents and that next step and future planning. So we still offer exactly the same service as if we were on campus in Hendon at the moment, where you would usually be able to come in for a one-to-one in the centre and come for a drop-in. The only thing is at the moment, we're just doing it all online. Granted, we'd love to be able to be back on campus in the near future, and that we're hoping that we'll be able to offer some limited support on campus in the not too distant future. But at the moment, if you want to engage with MDXworks, it's online. So you can email us via our inbox, you can email one of the advisors directly, you can pick up the phone and call us. There's a whole range of ways you can engage with the service. So we're still operating a fully functional service for you guys. So things in front of you, you can see, supporting you with your CVs, helping you to get that document into good shape before you apply for work experience and placements, undertaking mock interviews with you if you've got an interview lined up. The work experience and placement support is very, very tailored. We make sure that once you express interest in placements or work experience, we share opportunities with you. Sorry, can I just ask if anybody hasn't got their microphone muted, that they just mute that now? It's just a little bit of background noise. Other things that we'll be able to do is help you look at further study options if that's something you want to go on to do. We offer a whole range of programs to help you look at what things you might want to do in the future. So we offer an entrepreneurial program called MD Accelerator, and we have programs around mentoring. We have programs for second and first year students around articulating your experience throughout university and getting involved with extracurricular activities. So there's a whole range of things that we offer beyond the core one-to-one service, and it's really important that you try and get involved with as much as possible whilst you're with us. We have Unitemps, which I'm going to talk to you about as well, which offers paid part-time work on campus and online now as well, and hopefully going forward much more on campus. But as you can see in front of you, it's a whole range of opportunity that you have at your disposal. It's literally about just getting involved and reaching out to MDXworks as a service. And we really try to tailor that support in any way that you may need. Because we have faculty advisors for each of the faculties on campus. So each of your programs will have a dedicated MDXworks employability advisor who has subject-specific knowledge, industry know-how, and will be able to help you navigate through what you want to do in the future. And that usually comes, as I say, via one-to-one support with a whole host of opportunity around it. So this is how to get in touch. So if you want to take any photos or do any print screens, this is a really important page for you guys because it's got our website on there, how to book an appointment, also our telephone number and email address. If you don't get any of your questions answered today on the session, that's how you can follow up with us straight away. We want to hear from you already, help you to transition into the university as quickly as possible. We also have a website. So if there's one thing that I would recommend that you do after this session today, it's sign up to MDXworks.com. So MDXworks.com is our online careers and employability portal. It hosts all of our resources and content around careers and employment planning. So it's 24/7 access to information, advice and guidance to help you with your career planning, looking for placements, work experience, graduate jobs, learning what's out there in your industry, looking at different employer profiles that are available around companies that the university work with. This is really a one-stop shop to help you to get started. Once you've started to explore some of the information on mdxworks.com, what usually happens is you want to book an appointment, you want to know a little bit more and start to kind of formulate some plans for the future. So I would say get yourself signed up, really simple process. You create a profile. With that profile, you can upload your CV. We usually will review your CV once you upload your profile. And once you do all those things, you'll have access to all of the guides and content that's on there. We have a jobs board attached to it, as you can see. So graduate jobs, placements, internships, work experience across all of the industries that are featured across our course programs. Lots of events as well. So we'll have details of the latest events that are running both on campus and online, at the moment online. So we've got Gradstock Careers and Employment Festival, which happens every October. Work experience, placements, grad roles, all present usually at that annual festival.
I'm doing my lesson.
You'll also find lots of guides on, if you don't mind just muting your mic. There we go. So you'll find that there's lots of resources and guides available to you as well. So Each of the faculties on campus has a dedicated little panel on the website, and in there you'll find some resources to help you with applications, interviews, searching for placements, work experience, and a whole lot more. So depending on your program, there'll be different content for you to look at, which is very much tailored towards your course of study. So this is how you access, just to show you very briefly. Just type in mdxworks.com to your browser, hit enter, and you'll see a page like that that's in front of you, and just hit the sign up button. Once you've registered, you'll get an email link to activate your account. Just make sure you do check your junk email as well, because we have found a few of them do slip into there. Once you're all signed up, you'll be able to log in, and there you go. You'll have access to mdxworks.com. Any questions about the website, or if you're not familiar with it, just drop us a line on an email or give us a call, and we'll be happy to talk you through it. But it's a really useful place to get thinking about what you want to do when you arrive at the university, and really kick off the program in the next few weeks. Because what we'll be able to do is ask you questions around what have you already done around your career planning and your employability and employment options. And what we would love to hear from you in return is, I've already been on mdxworks.com and I've read all the guides, and I'm really interested in this, and this, and we can then do a very tailored one-to-one to support you with what you want to do around placements and work experience, and not necessarily just saying to you, what I'd recommend is, get on mdxworks.com and then come back and see us. If you get ahead of the game and do that now, you'll be in a really good position. Okay, so let's talk about placements and work experience while we're here. First and foremost, what is a placement? So often a question that we get all the time, what's a placement? What's the difference between a placement and an internship? So at the university at Middlesex, placement is an opportunity to gain, valuable experience as part of your degree. So as part of your degree, you'll have a range of options available to you where you can complete some form of work experience as part of your course of study. So it would maybe take a form of a particular module, and it may be something that you do alongside your degree and it's not a module credit, or it may be something that you do for a longer period over 6 months or 12 months, which again forms a big substantial chunk of your degree. Many courses at Middlesex have the year-long placement option. So you may have heard of it as the sandwich year, where your degree extends to 4 years in length. And what you will have is a 3-year academic program and a 1-year placement. And that placement takes place between the end of year 2 and beginning of year 3. So year 3 actually happens in a 4th year because of the extension. The sandwich year is a fantastic opportunity because you can really immerse yourself in industry for a full year. But we do know that not all students have access and opportunity to take a year out. So we offer a lot of short-term modules as well, where you can do some experience alongside your degree and still gain some module credits. So some examples in front of you. So the 9 to 12 month sandwich year, that's between second and final year. Flexible working, however, so in the business school, there's a flexible working module where you can do 30 days of work experience. In our fashion program, there's a 6-week placement where you go out in industry. Media has 80 hours as a shorter term placement. Natural sciences 150. There's 24 days for psychology, and there's a whole load more of those. Those are just a few examples, but most programs also offer the year long in industry. Those are the ones which are accredited, and they are specific to your degree. So you will gain some form of module recognition for doing one of those placements. However, that's not to say that you can't do some placement and work experience focus beyond your degree. And it's something that you almost do alongside, but it's not necessarily recognized as part of it. So we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly, because the main thing is just ensuring that you do actually look and seek out some form of experience that you can articulate to an employer when you finish your degree. So that's a placement. Just wanted to pop a quote on the screen. This was some research that came out last year. A lot of people say, I haven't got time to do a placement, I haven't got time to do work experience, I just want to focus on my studies. The feedback that we get from employers is very, very consistent. If our students do not have a story to tell which involves some form of experience, whether it be a placement or an internship or some work experience or some volunteering or even work shadowing, you are far less likely to have a place at the table in their organization. They're less likely to interview you, and they're less likely to look at your application and take that forward. It's a highly, highly competitive graduate labor market. And at the moment, it's going to get that little bit more competitive. So one thing that you will need to do to help you stand out from the crowd is look for that experience and try and hit the ground running and do it in your first year and try and do it as early as possible. Because if you can do a little thing early on, you're already going to increase your chances of securing your next opportunity. If you volunteer in year one, the chances of helping your application for a placement in year two are going to increase, and the chances of increasing your opportunities for a graduate job increase. So it's really important that you try and do this as early as possible. Make time in your week to try and seek out and learn about the opportunities that are available to you. This is what the quote from the High Flyers research: graduates who have had no previous work experience at all are less likely to be successful during selection processes for graduate programs. But work experience comes in many forms. So it could be part-time work, for example, that you do. But the main message from me here is very much around getting something on that CV. And the more relevant you make it, obviously the more likelihood of securing that longer term role. So here's just a few more of the benefits and the value of undertaking a placement. If I haven't sold it to you already, you're going to build up your CV with industry relevant experience. So that's what employers value most. I just told you that. A really big one though is gaining practical experience and test driving a job role. A lot of people will undertake a placement and sometimes actually say, I actually really didn't like that. I didn't find that experience very valuable. It wasn't. Actually, that's not the worst thing in the world. It's about test driving the role and ensuring that you understand what that opportunity involves. And it may be a case of thinking, well, actually, I've now ruled that one out. At least I can focus on another area. Some people who are most successful undertake a whole range of experience and they try a load of new and different things out, because actually long term they find themselves that careers are very non-linear. You don't necessarily have a job for life anymore. So by doing a variety of different things, you'll find that actually you pick up some skills and acquire some knowledge and experience in different industries.
What you have to do?
And that's a really big thing. I'm just going to take a pause.
Can you mute yourself? Can you mute yourself, please?
Yeah,
we're hearing children voices.
Yeah, whoever's got. Is that okay? Great, I think that's good. Okay, let's continue. So yeah, absolutely. It's a chance to test drive that job role. And if you really enjoy it, obviously even better, because you started to get experience in a role you want to go on to. It helps you to understand and enhance your commercial awareness as well. So a lot of the things employers look for is an understanding of the industry that you'll want to go into, and you'll be able to actually learn about developments in a specific sector by undertaking experience in it. You'll get to meet people who are already doing jobs that you might want to do in the future. You can pick their brains and you can make contacts for the future, and you'll really increase your knowledge and know-how of different sectors and industries and roles by just doing a little bit of experience. And if you do that more than once, or if you do that over an extended period, you'll find that actually you're really quite knowledgeable about certain sectors. And when it comes to an interview in the future, you know the trends, you know what's happening in the industry of choice, and you can really wow them with that knowledge that you've acquired, usually during a placement or work experience, and a little bit of research you've done as well. And a lot of people who do placements and work experience will be offered jobs. That's just the crux of it. If you go and do an internship or a placement and you impress and you really do well as part of that placement, the likelihood is they may want to keep you on and retain you, because that's the talent that they're looking for. And if you've already shown them rather that you can do the job, why would they not want to keep you on longer term? So by doing placements, work experience, or volunteering or shadowing, if you make a really good impression, not only have you increased your contacts and your network for the future, you've also potentially secured yourself a longer term opportunity. Not always, but even then, the chances are that that experience will never go to waste, because it's something you can talk about in the future. It's also an opportunity to help you identify and address any skills gaps that you may have. If you feel that actually, for example, I've always really struggled with Microsoft Excel, and it's something that I'd like to practically practice during a hands-on role, ask if you can go and get a voluntary role somewhere and see if that's something that they would allow you to do, and give you some tasks, some regular ongoing tasks where you can complete that. So the only way you can plug gaps is to be brave and bold and say, I'm just going to go and do it. So if you're thinking of doing a placement whilst you're with us at Middlesex, there's a few ways you can go about expressing your interest. And this really applies to all forms of work experience, I would say. If you're interested in doing a placement or an internship or even just short-term work experience or anything really that resembles work-related activity, we have an expression of interest form, which is housed on MDXworks.com and UniHub as well. And all you need to do is complete the form and say what you're interested in doing, whether it's a short-term or long-term, year-long placement, what subject you study, the type of things you want to do. And one of our faculty employability advisors is always tasked with following up with you to see what you want to do. And they'll try and book a one-to-one with you. And not only will they do that, they will share opportunities with you as well, so that you should get some opportunities sent out to you directly based on your preferences when you complete our expression of interest form. So if you're interested, it's a really quick and easy process in a way. Just let us know what you're looking for and then just stay in touch with us. Make sure that you're asking all the questions, make sure that you want to get your applications reviewed before you send them off, and just make sure that you're in regular contact with your faculty employability advisor for the different schools and the campus faculties that we have. Health and education isn't listed up here, but actually it will have a similar form. It'll just be a little bit different due to how some of their placements are structured, because many of them take place in-house where MDXworks don't support with the sourcing of the placements. Just an important note at the bottom. As I said, I'm not going to talk too much about COVID today because I'm sure we're all sick to death of it. But in light of the kind of the changing circumstances, the health and safety advice regarding placements has certainly come into play. So it's really important that if you do want to do a placement or some work experience at the moment that is part of your degree, or even if it's not, speak to us, because we've got health and safety material in place, and we can help you to ensure that that placement is actually safe for you first and foremost, and that the organization that you're going to has all of the right policy documents and all of the right practices in place so that you can start a placement and be really safe in the knowledge of the fact that you will be able to go there and work safely and not have any concerns at all. But as a result of the changing circumstances of COVID, as you'll know, many placements now will probably take place initially online in some circumstances. So the likelihood is there's a mixture of opportunity. Any placement that you try and do with Middlesex University has to be approved by MDXworks and your academic community. You must not start a placement until that happens. Just a brief note on internships. So I think one of the questions many people always ask is, what's the difference between a placement and an internship? And if I'm honest with you, I don't think anyone really knows, because it's constantly changing and employers really use the two terms interchangeably to describe a role which may be the same thing really. From our perspective, I would say that an internship is a shorter term experience, so usually between like one and 12 months, and usually will take place over the summer or will take place after you've graduated. So it's something that you don't do whilst you're studying your degree. That's a placement. A placement is something that is part of your academic degree and takes place whilst you're still studying your undergraduate or postgraduate degree. But as I said, employers use them interchangeably, and the likelihood is you'll end up doing a placement, but the employer will call it an internship or vice versa. So it's not necessary that you need to get too hung up on that terminology, but actually the chances are, just in case you ever wonder what that is, from a university perspective, a placement is something that you'll do while studying your degree. An internship is something that you do after your degree or during the holiday months as part of the degree itself. So looking at volunteering, as I said, any form of work experience is valuable. Don't think that anyone is less than the other. There's benefits of placements, there's benefits of internships, and there's huge benefits of things like volunteering as well. So if you are interested in gaining some work experience and you want to gain some experience quite quickly, and you want to gain some experience that will give you a solid reference and help you to maybe secure a job, whether it be part-time or a future placement or any graduate positions, volunteering is really invaluable, because it shows that you're willing to give up your time. It shows that you're willing to give back to causes that matter to you a lot of the time, and basically get involved with the local community for charitable causes often. Doesn't always have to be that case, because you'll find that actually you may be able to go and volunteer with a company which is quite specific, and doesn't always have to be a charity. But actually just being willing to do, you know, a little bit of volunteering with an organization will often go a long way to helping you secure a future role. Employers really love that people were willing to give up their time during their undergrad degree, and whilst maybe even working part-time, to say, well, I did that because that was very specific to what I want to do in the future. So I started to do, you know, 4 hours a week worth of volunteering. And actually 4 hours a week isn't a great deal, but over a long period, it's something that you could put on your CV for a 6-month spell, and that looks fantastic to a recruiter. So there's really great places to look for these type of roles, like charityjob.co.uk. You can find a directory of social enterprises as well if you want to do anything for causes that specifically matter to you. The local kind of council have opportunities as well. So look on Barnet Volunteering and Brent in the local areas. And the chances are you'll be able to find something quite quickly. And what I would say is, if you are looking for placements in your second year, so i.e. maybe like a year-long placement, try and do some volunteering in first year, because that will go hand in hand with how you can articulate what you did and the experience you gained. Unitemps. So Unitemps is a really, really big one at Middlesex. It's essentially how you can gain paid part-time work, but on campus. So as I said, at the moment, the likelihood is that these roles will likely be online in the main, but actually we will all be back on campus at some point, and there's loads of opportunities for you to get involved with on-campus support for your fellow peers. So MDX Unitemps, yeah, it's part of the Careers and Employability Service, and through that you'll have access to a range of opportunities. So some of the roles that are involved, like you can work as a student ambassador, a student learning assistant, a student helper, or an events assistant. You may also work in your faculty to work alongside an academic. They may be doing some research. You could work and do some support with the IT team. There's a whole range of things that happen throughout the year as part of Unitemps, and all you need to do is simply register with Unitemps upon your arrival. You can do that right now. The student ambassador scheme that I spoke about will actually be opening up in October. So if you want to register for Unitemps now and get your CVs reviewed, and you want to be an ambassador for the university, you'll be able to apply for that role probably in the next month. Some of our ambassadors will, as they help out with events. Some of them go into schools to kind of talk about Middlesex University as an institution and what we offer and our culture and our values. So it's a really great role, and it's again something that you can articulate as experience that you built up whilst you were studying as part of your program with us. So unitemps.com is how you get signed up to that one. A little bit more on it. I think this is more around part-time work more generally. I'm not going to talk too much today about finding part-time work beyond the university, because my colleague Wendy will be delivering a session, I believe on Thursday, around finding work, and that will cover all types of work around like part-time, graduate opportunities, and a little bit more. So I'll leave her to touch on that. But what I will say about Unitemps is it's really worthwhile, because not only does it give you the experience that you need, it's really flexible and it fits around your studies. So all the roles that you look at will always ensure that they work around your academic timetable. It's paid the London living wage as well, which I believe is around about £10.50 an hour. So it's a really great selling point of MDXworks and the university more generally. We're one of a number of institutions who have a Unitemps franchise, and we're hoping in the next kind of year or so whilst you guys are hopefully still with us, that we will be pushing Unitemps out into the local community as well. So it'll be opportunities for you in the borough of Barnet with organisations offering work experience and placements and short-time, temporary, part-time work which relate to your degree programs. So that's something to be keeping an eye out for. If you're an international student and you want to work during term time rather, Unitemps team are really, really familiar with the visa restrictions and can advise you on suitable opportunities. So that's another really useful point as well, to ensure that you are meeting any kind of visa restrictions that you have, and you're really confident that the experience that you're gaining is actually taken care of by the university, and we have as much understanding as we possibly need to. Again, just like MDXworks.com, just like when you fill in the expression of interest form for placements and work experience, if you register with Unitemps, you'll get alerts and new opportunities and skills development events and workshops as well. So yeah, get yourselves registered on MDXworks.com and Unitemps, and it'll be a really nice place to start before the academic year. We also have our Students' Union as well, so MDXSU. MDXSU is another place where you can find work experience and placements and a whole lot more part-time work. So to find opportunities with MDXSU, you can just go onto their website really, or you can get engaged with them directly if you're on campus. MDXSU has its own kind of entity, its own space. So if you go onto their website, you'll be able to see all the different societies that you can get involved with. I'm sure you've been seeing some of the sessions around that already as part of the transition program. So have a look on there. You'll see that they've got job vacancies. And every year, probably around October, November time, we offer community placements as well. So these are very specific, subject-specific opportunities that take place in the local community, but through Middlesex University Students' Union. And it's a real great way of just getting some short-term experience over a small number of hours, which are manageable alongside your degree. But also knowing that you worked for the SU as part of your degree at Middlesex, and they're all managed through Unitemps as well. So any paid part-time work on campus, which is like as part-time and temporary, all goes through Unitemps. If you ever get asked to do anything else, you shouldn't really be asked. But yeah, Unitemps is the place to learn a little bit more. And the SU, we work very closely with them as an MDXworks service, and there's a whole range of things that you can get involved with. If it's not just part-time work or work experience or placements you're looking for, yeah, you can get involved with societies, they have debating clubs, all different sorts of things to kind of demonstrate your passion to recruiters. So show them what you're interested in, because even if you can't secure some experience, because we know it's difficult, do extra things and extracurricular activities which demonstrate that you have a passion for a certain industry or a passion for a certain topic, because it's a way to articulate your experience to a recruiter. So one other thing I wanted to talk to you about today is LinkedIn. I don't know how many have already heard of LinkedIn or maybe using the platform, but LinkedIn is a fantastic way of not only starting to understand and learn about an industry of potential interest, but is actually a really amazing way for looking for work experience and placements and work shadowing and a whole lot more. You'll have the classic websites which advertise placements and experience and volunteering, and all of those you can find through mdxworks.com. We've got guides and guides of websites where you just click on them and it'll take you in and you can apply for things directly. But actually, in light of the COVID situation and in light of the fact that it is going to be challenging to find placements and internships, using something like LinkedIn can often be the difference maker to help you secure experience. Because LinkedIn is a place where you have your own professional identity. So you can showcase all the great things that you're doing at university. You can showcase all the experience that you've had, almost like an online CV. But actually, once you've got a LinkedIn profile set up, you have access to, hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who are probably working in an industry that you want to go into. So by going onto LinkedIn and looking on people's profiles and learning about all the different job roles that exist, you've got an opportunity to learn just by clicking through a load of profiles. And then if you wanted to be a little bit bolder, and I would really convince you all today that be bold is kind of my big message. If you feel like you want to gain some work experience, you've got to go out there and try and take it for yourself. And the way to do that is by networking with people who are in industries and roles of your interest. And the way you do that is to learn about them by asking questions about their own career today and asking questions about how they got into the industry. So don't be afraid to connect with them on LinkedIn. And I say, ask them questions about how they got into the industry, ask around things around any advice they can give you for how you could break into the industry. Don't just log on to LinkedIn and say, can you give me a job? Or can you give me a placement? Or can you get me a voluntary role? Because no one takes kindly to that. They want you to learn about the industry first and foremost, and everyone loves talking about themselves. So talk to them on LinkedIn, have a chat with them, try and get to know them, try and build some rapport with some people and build a little bit of a network up with contacts who you think, okay, I feel like now I'm studying biomedical science and actually I've got 10 people who work in as a lab assistant, and I've got 5 people who have gone on to be physician associates. And actually, I feel like I've got to know them a little bit. So if I had a question about anything, they may be able to point me in the right direction. And if you do build up such a good rapport, you then might be able to be a little bit cheekier and say, I don't suppose that the organisation that you're working for would be able to maybe offer me like a work shadowing week, or can I come in and work shadow you for a few days? All of this is experience that you can then articulate to a future recruiter. So you have to be bold and you have to be brave and you have to show them that you want it, but there's certain ways to do it. And setting up a LinkedIn profile is a really important step on your Middlesex journey and your future career journey. We'll be able to support you with setting up a profile. We'll be able to review your profile, just like we'd be able to review your CV. So once you've done that, send it in to us with the URL and say, this is my LinkedIn profile. I want to use this to start reaching out to some people in my network and in the industry. And we'll give you some pointers and some feedback. You can follow companies on LinkedIn as well. There's a jobs board on there with placements and work experience. It really is fast becoming the place to be alongside MDXworks.com. So do get yourselves registered on LinkedIn as well. Okay, what else? What else is there that you could potentially be doing for placements and work experience? So yeah, this is just a little bit of research that's come in from prospects saying 26% of final year students actually this year lost their internships as a result of the pandemic. So a lot of people, yeah, rightfully so, are saying, well, there's not many positives to take. There's just not a lot out there. But actually, we're starting to see a little bit of a trend emerge where new opportunities are arising, which didn't exist pre-COVID and actually are quite positive. So things like virtual work experience, a lot more employers are open to offering virtual experience for you because it's far less time consuming, it's far less resource intensive than if they have to bring you into the office for a week, for example. You know, if they can be able to structure a program for you over a week through Zoom and joining different meetings that the business have and maybe getting involved with a specific kind of activity or project over the course of a week or two, then that could potentially happen. But again, you have to be quite bold. You have to ask those questions, be speculative in your approach, speak to organizations, get to know personnel in the industry, and even you could pitch to them. I'd love to come in for a week and work on a project for you. I'm happy to do it online through Zoom or the like. And actually you'll start to find that the experience that you start to build up, you're probably finding a little bit easier than if you had to go and apply for something online and compete against all of your peers. So virtual work experience is fast becoming more of a thing. A lot of the big auditing companies over the summer offered virtual work experience programs for free for all students. So it's probably going to be a trend that continues. And I would say to you, by knowing about the trend, start to utilize the potential of it. Have a chat with organizations and people on LinkedIn, for example, about the potential for this. Because even if you go in and do a day of work shadowing, that's knowledge and that's know-how of a specific role that you may want to go on to in the future that you've acquired, which you would have never have had the opportunity for if you hadn't asked the question. So online volunteering as well, that's going to be possible. There may be something that you could do in your local area to help vulnerable people, particularly at the moment. Some of you may have already done that. Temporary or part-time roles, of course, as we spoke about, Unitemps is a great place. A lot of the kind of, as you know, industry has reopened, so part-time work in industry is something that you could look for. And my colleague will talk to you more about finding work and how you can do that on Thursday. But other little ideas that people have done, so virtual community groups. So if you don't necessarily feel that you are able to take on some work experience or a placement at this time, do something. Set up a virtual experience, virtual community group, for example, or write a blog, or just do something which shows that you're very passionate about the industry that you want to go into. All those activities that I've mentioned there, as says, builds you transferable skills, and it demonstrates to employers that you're tenacious, you are proactive, you think outside the box, and more importantly, that you are really dedicated to what your career is going to look like in the future. A few other sources before we can take the last 15 minutes of questions. Yeah, follow companies, as I said, on LinkedIn and on social media. That's a great way of trying to find current opportunities, particularly in relation to placements and work experience. Often they're not always advertised through the usual means and the usual websites. So usually if you go direct to the company website, you'll find things that other people will not. So make sure you sign up to those organizations that you want to go and work for. and try and get those industry insights and things, their latest news and opportunities. Yeah, keep an eye out for events as well. There's a lot of virtual careers events going on at the moment. You know, it's only this week, I think we had about 4 different things come through from like HSBC, NatWest, I think PwC as well, all sending through. We're doing a virtual careers day. Can your students attend? These little things, they may not be work experience or a placement, but it's the little thing that gets your interest piqued into what could become a work experience and a placement. You'll gain some knowledge from it. You'll understand a little bit more about how the business works. And often you'll make contacts by attending these things. You may meet the recruiter on that day, and it's somebody who you could then follow up with on LinkedIn afterwards to have a little chat with them, a little conversation. I'm not saying they're going to offer you a job that way, but actually the whole "it's not what you know, it's who you know" phrase really is true. If you interview a recruiter who you've met already a few times, subconsciously, they're more likely to probably score you positively at that interview, providing you made a good impression. So do attend things, attend industry insight talks. Let's say we've got Gradstock Festival up in October. There's going to be loads going on then, specific to placements, work experience and more. Log in, listen to the industry insight talks and watch them back as well, because there are lots of them will be recorded. Talk to your tutors as well. MDXworks is just one source of support for you. It's obviously the main one. We can help you with, I say, looking for work experience and placements and loads more. But actually your academic tutors will have their own contacts and they'll have their own industry knowledge and awareness. So talk to them. They may have a role within the department that they can need support with, but you won't know if you don't ask the question, and they're not very forthcoming in saying, you know, do you want a job? It's sometimes they're looking for the proactive ones to make themselves known. And yeah, finally, more of a basic one, but definitely worthwhile. Just sign up for email alerts from your favorite jobs boards, particularly, you know, Rate My Placement or Inspire and Intern, those type of places in light of the topic that we're talking about today. And LinkedIn, I can't talk enough about how important LinkedIn is. If you're an international student, just a few things that you'll need to know. It is really important that you have permission to work in the UK before you look for work. They're really complicated rules and I'm no expert on those rules. So you do need to speak to our visa and international student advice team before you start making any decisions around looking for work. You will have your Tier 4 visa, which does restrict you to a number of hours whilst you're on campus. I believe that's 20. So it's really important that you know the rules for international students before you start looking for placements and work experience. One thing I would say is if you do a placement, often those visa restrictions are reduced because they know that, for example, you'll be working for a year in industry and it's part of your degree. So you don't necessarily have those same restrictions. But everyone's a bit different. A lot of the programs are different. There's no one size fits all. So whenever you've got a little concern around the visa or immigration, and working hours, always try and speak with our MDX visa and immigration team or the international student advice team first and foremost. Some final tips, always get your applications reviewed. So many students will start looking for placements and work experience and just fire off a CV that they put together maybe before you even came to university. But actually what we want to do as MDXworks is help you to identify your talents and your best points that you can really put down on paper to showcase to an employer. So make sure you send us your CV, make sure you send us your cover letter that you're going to send. You'll need to ensure that you tailor all of your applications to each of the organizations that you're looking to go and work to and with. So make sure you send in your CV, send in your cover letter to the employability inbox. If we do get back on campus, you can come in for a drop-in and we'll review it one-to-one. You can book a one-to-one appointment with an advisor and you can share it with them over Zoom and it'll be on the screen and they can talk you through it there and then, just like it was in person. But make sure that you do those things because, you know, when I was similar age at university, I wouldn't have known what to put on my CV. It takes quite a few years sometimes for people to really get a great CV in place. And, you know, we've got the expertise in our team and we want to hear from you, help you to get those right. Yeah, I said keep up to date with events. I think I've been through that. Tailor speculative applications. I said not so much will be advertised at the moment. So it's those who are proactive who are going to probably reap the rewards. And actually a speculative application, which outlines why you want to work for a specific company and why you want to go and join that organization in that role, is often coming from a speculative approach. And we can help you put together those, whether you want to send them through LinkedIn or otherwise. Yeah, I think it's an important point here for your own well-being. Make sure you do find the right balance between working, studying, and everything else. I've said to you today that you can do pretty much everything: volunteering, placements, internships, shadowing, networking. But actually, I know you've got a degree program to do as well. And some of you may have a part-time job that you need to do alongside your degree. So only take on what you are able to take on. But always think about the long term and think, well, actually, have I got those extra few hours? Because sometimes it's all it takes to get a little bit of experience and to note down something on the CV, which you've been doing to show your passion for a particular industry or role. And our kind of vision as a service is that every student leaves Middlesex with some form of work-related activity on their CV. I think it's a real crime if you've done 3 years of your degree and there's nothing to show for it beyond the degree transcript. Employers say that's fantastic, but it's not enough by itself. So you need to engage with us as a service and engage with each other to try and see the benefits of work experience and what that can do for you in propelling you into a future career. And stay positive. It's been a pretty negative 2020 by all accounts, but actually we're all going to come through this. It's been sent to try us, but long term, there's going to be rejections before you have success in any industry and in any type of application. And there may just be a few more at the moment, but actually you need to stay positive and you need to make changes to how you approach looking for placements and work experience whilst you're looking. And just on the whole, just make sure that you are engaging with our service, because those students who are successful and continually find placements and work experience and go on to graduate roles, most of them come through our service in some way. So just reach out, and it'd be great to hear from some of you straight after the call today around how we can help you transition into the university, which is exactly what this program's all about. So that's all from me. So I'm going to take some questions. My colleague Wendy is on the call and she's going to just select some of the questions. I know that there's absolutely loads in the chat. I think I can see about 58 different things in there. If your question doesn't get answered, as I said, you are more than welcome to email our inbox. All the details, I'll pop them back on screen, on the screen now. Just email us, give us a call, and we'll be able to answer them. But Wendy, what's question number one?
Question number one, I think, is a funny question. Somebody's asked, is everybody old that's attending Middlesex University, that we all look over 40 on this chat? Yes, I am over 40. But I can assure you there's over 100 people on this chat, and many of them are young people. There are some old folk like me, but it's a wide range and mix of age of people that are attending Middlesex University. Sorry, I thought I'd throw that one in first. It's quite funny. Somebody asked, Jack, there's a lot of nursing related questions, very specific to nursing and placements. Gary's on the call and he's been answering those, so I don't believe we need to cover those off. Placements on the nursing course are part of the course. I'm correct in saying that, aren't I, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. Nursing is usually handled in-house. Again, if you needed any support around health and education careers, however, we have Louise Munt, who is the faculty employability advisor. She's always happy to help and answer questions and does support the department closely. But yes, for placements, the nursing programs usually handle things internally.
Okay, other people are asking, volunteering, should I volunteer? Would it be good for my CV? Where should I volunteer? Jack will probably enhance what I'm saying here, but any kind of voluntary work that is relative to your course is great. It doesn't have to be specifically related to your course, but if it's transferable, that's fantastic. And as Jack said, and just a few hours a week can go on your CV, and if it's transferable to the degree you're doing, that's fantastic. Would you agree, Jack?
Yeah, absolutely. I don't think I've ever heard any employer who's recruited a graduate has not said how important volunteering is. And it can really be the difference maker at times, because as you know, it's doing it for free, and not a lot of people want to do things for free, particularly at the moment. So by doing some form of volunteering, you'll find that actually people are really, really impressed by that tenacity and that proactive mindset that you've shown. And as Wendy says, if you can volunteer for something that's relevant to your degree, even better. But a lot of the time, it may be just a starting point, giving back to a social enterprise, or looking into kind of some charitable causes within the local community. Those type of things go a long way as well, because you never know what your recruiter is passionate about as well. They may be working, at KPMG as an audit analyst, but actually in their spare time, they may be also volunteering at a homeless shelter, and you've gone and then at a homeless shelter. Instant rapport with that individual on the panel. Really important to think about things that matter to you as well.
And I think with that in mind, what Jack's just said, an employer likes to see that somebody has been organised and has a work ethic. That even if you can't get anything that's highly relevant or vaguely relevant, just to show that you've taken the time alongside your studies to do something, sets you apart from somebody that didn't do anything for 3 years. Other questions? Can I do a placement after I've graduated? Yes, but ordinarily we would be thinking to be getting out to work or doing an internship.
Yeah.
Jack, you want to answer there?
So you can do a placement after graduating, but it won't hold the same kind of, I suppose, kudos as when you are at university, mainly because there won't be any kind of module credits associated with it, because it won't be as part of your degree. And often as well, the one thing I would say is if you go and do a placement after university, you're not so protected whilst being at the university, because whilst you're at the university, you have all of our kind of health and safety stuff behind it. You have all of the insurance documentation that we have to complete. So if you go out and do it after university, that's absolutely fine, but you just don't have so much kind of backing and weight from the university.
I'm going to now read through some of the questions. Quite a lot have come in while we're talking, but I just want to say, somebody asked, are there opportunities in labs and hospitals? And as Gary said, the NHS is the biggest employer in this country. So you shouldn't struggle there. Somebody here is asking us, they're going to be doing graphic and animation. Are they going to struggle to find work experience this year because of what's going on? How many people have managed to find a work placement in their first or second year? I'm going to hand it over to Jack, because I don't think I can throw any stats at you, but I'm sure Jack will give you an answer to that.
Yeah, I don't have any kind of figures to hand around specific programs, but what I would say is we have a really fantastic advisor for art and design who works in the industry herself. So she works with us part-time, and the rest of the time works kind of in the design industry and sector. So she knows what it takes to secure work experience. She knows what it takes to secure a placement. Yes, it will be harder, but as I said, it's about thinking outside the box, and it's about thinking of, well, how else could I obtain that experience? Is it something that I could do as a project? Could I pitch to an employer that I will do a project for them? And that in itself is still work experience. So it's sometimes now about thinking around how you can get the experience, which is a little bit non-traditional in a sense that they're just going to offer a placement with some real structured boundaries around it. It may be a case that you do smaller and shorter things, but actually at the end of it, you still come out with the same stuff, and you can still articulate the brilliant things you've been doing. So what I would say is, if you're a little bit concerned, get in touch with us, email us, we can put you in touch with Camille, and she can support you already.
And I think with that particular degree in mind, if you're struggling to get any form of work, be it freelance, online, those students that have struggled in those sort of areas, we recommend they create a portfolio, hyperlink on their CV, that as a recruiter, if you're studying graphics or animation or visual, the best thing to do there is to have a hyperlink to your work so an employer can see what you've been up to. Susanna, I don't know if you can turn your sound off. I'd also recommend, somebody asked about
Sorry.
somebody asked about roles. Somebody asked about roles in the finance industry, opportunities during studies and after you graduate. A fantastic website to look at, I'd highly recommend it to you all, is Prospects. If you go to Prospects and you navigate your way to what can I do with my degree, and then you put in the degree you're studying or plan to study, it then gives you a fantastic list of directly related roles and indirect roles. So that will show you the type of industry that you should be pursuing and thinking about.
Great, thanks, Wendy. Any other questions?
How many, Gary will know this, but somebody asked how many days per week and how many hours per day in uni for nursing. I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
Yeah, if those kind of program specific questions, hopefully Gary can answer, but if not, it's something that you'll need to put program leads around, because this session today is more specifically around placements and work experience. This is the relationship you'll be doing at uni.
And a question in from somebody that's doing a master's in criminology with forensic psychology, who's an international student. Would it be hard for me to find an internship after graduation? I think it depends on the visa limitations there. Tier 1, Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4. It's a very difficult question to answer, really. We can certainly provide you as part of the service with links to companies that will recruit Tier 2 and Tier 4. And we also collaborate with a fantastic organisation called Student Circus. I don't know if you covered that, Jack. I arrived late for the meeting.
No, but it's a really important one. It's definitely something that we'll be talking through on Thursday in the Finding Work session. But yeah, Student Circus offer opportunity placement, work experience, and more for just our international students. So if you're looking for opportunity for those Tier 2 and 4 sponsors, it's really important that you sign up to Student Circus as well. You'll be able to access that website through MDXworks.com as well, so have a look on there. But more generally, as an international student, yeah, it will depend on whether you can get sponsorship, but all of the same rules apply. It's how proactive you are. It's the network that you build. It's the tenacity that you show, and the resilience that you build up as you apply, and you may face some rejections. Those who succeed don't let things like that hold them back. They make sure that they engage with us as a service, and they just keep going and going until they achieve what they want to. So if you're looking for a placement beyond your degree, and you're already thinking about it now, start now, is what I would say to you.
Yeah.
Because you need to build that network. It may take a year, it may take a little bit longer, but actually if you start at the end of your degree, the chances are going to be massively, massively reduced.
One other question here. Placement for Masters in Cyber Security is not available this year. Are there any other options? Is that a course-specific question that needs to be directed to the module leader, Jack? I don't know.
Was that on an integrated placement program, or was that just a shorter term? I'm not too sure.
Don't know, sorry. Masters Cyber Security is not available this year. That's something we can...
So a lot of the master programs this year, the placements, they were removed from the program, but that's not to say that you can't still do some work experience alongside it. All of the placements and internships and the like, they all have different names, but actually the main thing, as I said at the very start, is just getting some experience. Just because it's not a structured placement as part of your degree program where you go out for the year, it's not to say that you can't still look for some experience in cybersecurity and have that recognized by a future employer in the university. So yeah, I would say there are other options. You need to probably start off by arranging that one-to-one and have a chat with us about the options that you have available. All the things that I spoke through today is where to start. It's really just going to give you that grounding to kick off that search.
We're also asked, when can a work placement be secured? First year, second year, or now?
Yeah, so it's really varied. As I said, the options that you have available will depend on your program. Some placements you can do in year 1. Majority of placements take place in year 2. So you've got those sandwich year placements between year 2 and 3. You've also got lots of small module ones between year 2 and 3. But you've also got some in that third year as well. So like 30 credit modules where you do a 30-day placement or a 25-day placement. So you'll need to basically check what options you have available depending on your program, and we can do that with you. You can ask the question, you know, what would I have as options for BA fashion, or what would it be for biomedical science, and we'll just talk you through them, and then that way you know what you can be looking for.
And additionally, aside from the formality of a credit bearing placement, any form of work experience is fantastic. So you can start looking now. You can do it in first year, second year, third year. Any form of work experience, credit bearing or not, is going to be the difference often between you being recruited or me being recruited. If you've gone out there and done something formally, credit bearing or work experience, and your CV is just as good as mine, but you've got the experience, then I'm going to hire you. I just want to go back to somebody talking about opportunities within the finance department. Just again, prospects, PROSPECTS, prospects. Look there for careers related to your degree. Fantastic website. I really can't keep up with the questions now. They're coming in thick and fast, by the way, everybody.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the number of questions, guys, it's a real shame. I'd love to kind of sit on here till tomorrow morning, but we're not going to be able to get through all of those today. But as I said, we want to answer your questions. So you've got the details in front of you. As I said, take a photo of the email address, type it into the email address, send us a question. If it's just a quick one, we'll send it on to the relevant advisor, and they'll be able to answer the question hopefully for you, and in this week, if not before. So yes, so we'll go for another couple of questions, Wendy, if there's a couple more.
Yes, I'm just pushing out prospects so that everybody's got the spelling of that, because obviously the audio is not brilliant. Somebody else will be able to produce slides to encompass what you've covered today.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll be able to send them out.
Yeah, so I'll liaise with the student engagement team who have really kindly put on the transition program, but the slides are available, and the recording of the session will be available, and I suppose it'll be up to them with how they want to share that. But if you want to email directly and say, can I have the slides, we'll send them to you, no problem.
There's been quite a few questions. When do we start on campus? When do the inductions start? I think those have been covered. Somebody's answered the 21st. Again, that's very course specific. I don't know if you're aware, Jack, of the exact dates.
In terms of when the courses start?
Yeah, inductions, 14 or 21. Somebody's answered 21st.
Yeah, so I think it does depend on your program, because some of the courses start earlier than others. So I wouldn't want to answer it if I didn't know the program. But again, any course specific questions, just contact your program lead.
I think pretty much that's it. There were an awful lot of nursing questions. Thank you, Gary, for answering so many.
Yeah.
And as Jack said, any other questions, general questions, you can write into us. We may not be able to answer them, but we're very good at signposting you to the person that can, if you want to. Have we given out our general email address?
Yeah, it's on screen at the mo. MDXworks at mdx.ac.uk is where you can contact us. And as I said, because we will be online for the foreseeable, that's probably going to be your main contact point, dropping us a line through the inbox, and we can get back to you on anything that you may need. But I think the main thing I would say to you is, you've attended the transition session today. That's already a fantastic starting point. Those who didn't are already a little bit behind if they want to think about placements and work experience. So now you've got a little bit more information. Get yourself signed up to mdxworks.com, have a little explore around some of the guides, and then try and just formulate some questions and think, well, actually, I'm ready to book a one-to-one appointment. I already want to talk about what my options are for when I start my degree program. And if you already know those options, you're going to be in far, far greater stead for what you want to do when you actually kick off the program itself. And yeah, as Wendy said, any experience is important. You haven't got to wait for a placement. Just grab whatever you can with both hands at the moment, because it will be the difference maker between you securing a graduate role or not. You have no doubts about that.
And I think certainly, as Jack said, placements, work experience, I said about portfolios, hyperlink to portfolios. Additionally, with the use of LinkedIn, you'll have access to something called LinkedIn Learning. I would advise strongly in your spare time to do extracurricular things like take some subjects, modules on LinkedIn Learning to enhance your CV. I'd also advise, again, just to build up this picture of you, that you join societies and so on campus that relate to your degree. Anything you can add to your CV that shows you've bothered to make an effort is going to help you.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
So I think, we'll leave you with that. Lots to think about, I'm sure, lots to explore. Welcome to Middlesex is the most important thing. And if you need any help from MDXworks at all throughout your time with us, we're always here and dedicated to support you with whatever you want to do going forward. So huge thank you to all for attending, and we'll hopefully see some of your faces again soon.
Take care, everybody. Goodbye.